to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she is required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel, folks. It is a wacky SHTF Wednesday. Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Folks, we're getting this close to World War III. They're pushing it. And it's not just the idiot politicians. It's not just the World Economic Forum, the Illuminati bastards. It's also the press. Folks, the press. The Associated Press, folks, has had to issue a correction because they said it was Russia that sent those missiles in, right, to Poland. Got everyone also, right? I'm not allowed to talk about anything. John, we're not allowed to talk about jack Schnitt because, we're fake news and, we're not experts like the Associated Press and Reuters. These clowns, folks. We're the ones who make sense. You and I. It's a wacky fucking day. Hey, for those of you who show up on YouTube, that address right up there, share it. Hit subscribe. Hit the share button and share that address and get the information out. For everyone else who's here live with me right now on subscribestar.com and thepreparedmind.club, let's get into it. Get your questions down below. Get them into Jolene. A lot of crap has happened today, folks, and we called it. We knew it. We discussed and said, hey, what does Russia have to gain by sending missiles into Poland? Does that make a lick of fucking sense? No, it doesn't. It truly doesn't. Well, right? Get this, folks. Out of the White House, they had a statement that backed the Polish and NATO assessment that the Tuesday Polish bomb missile attack was, quote, most likely the result of a Ukrainian air defense missile that, well, unfortunately landed in Poland, end quote. Quote, most likely the result of a Ukrainian air defense missile that unfortunately landed in Poland, end quote. But the mainstream media was jumping all over it saying, that was Russia. Now, Jens Stoltenberg still blames Russia for what happened. I mean, get this. This is what this idiot says, right? NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg. She blames Russia. Says, quote, that said, talking about, it appears to be Zelensky's people. She goes, that said, whatever the final conclusions may be, well, at this point, it's pretty fucking obvious. But whatever the final conclusions may be, it is clear that the party ultimately responsible for this tragic incident is Russia. And Ukraine had and has every right to defend itself. Folks, this is the wacky fucking world we live in. Because Ukraine has a right to defend itself, it can launch missiles that land in Poland. Folks, you got Ukraine. Here's Ukraine. Over here is Russia. To the east of Ukraine is Russia. To the west of Ukraine is Poland. Their missiles went to the west. They didn't launch their air defense missiles at Russia. They launched them into their fucking ally, Poland. And fucking NATO goes, this is Russia's fault. Really, it's Russia's fault. Well, it's rainy today and a lot of car accidents happen as a result of wet highways. It's Putin's fault. I mean, can you imagine the phone calls Putin is getting? He's like, ring, 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 ring. He's like, this is Putin, huh? What can I do for you? Oh, you're going to blame me again, huh? Thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go drink some vodka and ride a bear around without my shirt. Bye-bye. You know, is he even taking calls anymore? I wouldn't. Hey, Ron Paul, that's right, presidential candidate, the dad, Ron Paul. Ask the question, right? Did we almost get lied by the mainstream media into World War III? Now, my thing is, look, Ukraine has launched a missile. Ukraine is not a NATO member. Ukraine launched missiles that went into Poland. That's an attack on a NATO ally, a member of the NATO alliance. There it is. There it is. I was not, oh man, you beat me to it. You bastard, you. Shouldn't NATO attack Ukraine under Article 5 of the alliance rules? Because Poland was attacked. He was just waiting. I know. I bet Ooman had that all typed in and shit, and he was just waiting to push his button. I love you, brother. Way to go, man. I was on it. Yeah. We need to invade, but it gets better. It gets better. And you're like, John, how can it get better? This is why I go, you better be prepared, folks. The lights can go out. We can get a cyber attack. We can get, hell, Canada has a right to defend itself. It had and has a right to defend itself. So any missiles it launches out of Canada, it's clearly Russia's fault. The responsibility is borne by Russia. So if Canadian missiles land in the U.S., it's Russia's fault. If Mexicans, the army down there, if the Mexican army had missiles and they launched them and they land in the U.S., can they blame Russia? And these guys, folks, the temerity, which means big balls, the balls on little Zelensky, right? They demand access to the Polish blast site. And they are still doubling down on it was the Russians, a Russian attack. That lie, that story, they're doubling down on it. We demand access. These assholes can demand access to a sovereign nation other than their own, a sovereign nation and their crash site. What an asshole Zelensky is, right? First, he's begging money from everyone and weapons. He gets them. Then he guilts everyone until they give him even more. He jumps up and down and swears he's the world's best leader. Everyone worships him and kisses his ass. He guilts everyone, lies, bullshits, and then blames everyone else when something happens. And he demands access. Talk about little man syndrome. Fuck. And then get this, folks. The pièce de résistance. After Zelensky bombs Poland, the little prick turns around and sends a drone deep into Russia and hits, what a day, and hits a fuel depot inside of Russia. Well, again, this is kind of breaking news, folks. It's a suspected Ukrainian drone. Why is it a drone? Why is it suspected, and why is it Ukraine? Ukraine doesn't make any drones. It's probably stamped made in USA. One of the few things we make in USA besides liberalism is, well, we have a very profitable military industrial weapons complex. But we're going to blame Ukraine, right? You guys launched one of our freaking drones. Zelensky said peace. Just last weekend, he said peace, peace. We're going to, it's time for peace. Time to stop this fighting stuff, right? As his money laundering operation is exposed, right? Zelensky says peace. And then he's launching missiles at everyone. I tell you what, if I was in the UN and NATO and DC, I'd stand up and go, we must stop the Zelensky Hitler. Remember, folks, Hitler invaded Poland. Hitler attacked Poland. And then he went after Russia. Hello. Put me through to the White House, please. Give me pedo Hitler. Thank you. Yeah. Joe, look, I know that you want to be the new Hitler character. I know. Hey, calm down, man. Stop yelling at me in German or whatever that gibberish is you're speaking. And get that fucking ice cream cone out of your mouth. I can't hear you when you're talking. Now, listen, Joe. Remember that guy named Hitler? Yeah, the mustache guy. Yeah, the mustache guy. Yeah. Yeah, well, guess what? Zelensky's doing the same fucking thing. They've got Nazi brigades there. It's called the Azov Battalion. That's right. Yeah, yeah. There's actual Nazis in Ukraine. And you're giving them money and weapons? Now, Joe, listen to me. Listen, stop. Stop the sniffing noises. Put down whatever it is you're sniffing. Now, listen to me. Joe, listen. Pay attention. Read your cue cards. It says sit down and behave and obey. Okay. We're having history kind of repeat itself here. And there's someone else pretending to be as Hitler-esque as you. You better put a stop to this, man. You want to be the Hitler, right? Tell me. Say it again, Joe. That's right, Mr. Biden. You want to be Hitler. You want to have all the lights on you and look like a dramatic, overly dramatic asswipe as you demand everyone obey you. That's right. Well, guess what? Zelensky's trying to beat you to the punch. You better get in there and do something about it. Okay. That's right. Okay. Nap time for Joe. That's right. Nighty-night. Bam. Okay. Yeah, these people are crazy. Launching missiles everywhere. Everything is Russia's fault. Unfreaking believable. And it continues. Now, I started off with Ted Cruz, right?
I talked to a student recently at one of our woke college campuses who said she's required in every class to introduce herself and to give her pronouns. Well, I'm Ted Cruz, and my pronoun is kiss my ass.
Okay, that's Ted Cruz. Well, guess what? He said today it would be nuts for the Republicans to stick with the same leadership after the midterm failure. Well, I don't always agree with Ted Cruz, but when I do, I have a Dos Equis. I tell you what, I agree with him on this. And I watch Ted Cruz very carefully because he has a propensity to be a rhino. But still, I mean, does he want to be a man and an American all at the same time? Well, the man whose pronoun is kiss my ass, Senator Ted Cruz, he's asking for a McConnell ass kicking. That's right. Mitch McConnell is Republican leadership. And guess what? They reelected him as Senate leader for the Republicans in D.C. There's a fucking mistake right there. But Ted Cruz says the same leadership. I think we could be talking about the Republican Party in general. But McConnell is responsible for withholding funding from America First senatorial candidates. Folks, it's not just that there's a problem in the world and we have SHTF. We know it to be true. It's not just that we have a problem domestically in our country, which we know to be true. It's not that we just have a problem in Washington, D.C. with Democrats. Yeah, we know that to be true. But we have a problem in our own political party, the Republican Party, supposedly the party of Reagan and the party of Dwight D. Eisenhower, Ike, supposedly the party of freedom and liberty and the Constitution. And we've got jackasses running the party at the national level, the Republican platform. We have huge problems in our own political party. Now, what is great, as we've sunk down and down and down and down into this SHTF quagmire, aka swamp, we're discovering that the problem isn't just outside our country, it's inside our country. And it's not just in Washington, it's across the whole country. And it's not just the Democrats, it's in our own party. We have house cleaning to do. Prep to action. You better be prepared. Better be prepared, folks. Because now, not only did we expose, well, let's say Trump exposed DC as the swamp. And we're like, great, someone's finally fucking saying it. Thank you there, Mr. Trump. And then we saw how the swamp reacted. The deep state, which has been admitted to. The deep state exists. The deep state is real. The deep state is a nasty, smelly thing. But the deep state and the smelly swamp is in the Republican Party. That's right. The Uniparty is real. The Uniparty is globalist. The Uniparty hates our Constitution. It hates us. The deep state, folks. Remember when everyone was like, that's just a conspiracy theory. There's no deep state.
They want to eliminate what they call the deep state. The deep state is a cadre of professionals dedicated to honoring the Constitution, the laws of this country, and carrying out the policies of the Congress and the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President. The deep state dedicated to carrying out the policies of the President.
That's right. The deep state is real. It's not a conspiracy theory. And preppers and patriots are not paranoid people who are misinformed. And we've been misinforming everyone else. No, folks, it is real. It's absolutely real. The World Economic Forum and their Great Reset, it's absolutely real. It's not a conspiracy theory. The mainstream media, including international media, Reuters, Associated Press, etc., they lie. They lie their asses off. They mislead. They misrepresent. They misinform. They are, yes, fake news. We have one hell of an SHTF in front of us, folks. We found out that the chickens have come home to roost. On this wacky SHTF Wednesday, folks, it cannot be doubted anymore. The people that we're sending money and missiles to are using them, well, rather haphazardly, to be generous, mighty fucking stupidly, if we want to be honest about it. And these people are in charge of nations and military and weapons, folks. All the way up to nuclear weapons. For our part, me and you, we need to get our Republican Party cleaned out. This third party shit, it's not going to work. Right? It'll be infiltrated just as quickly. We have to take control of the leadership positions. We have to start at the grassroots and vote these people out. We need to build a coalition and object to these people. We need to have protests against our own fucking political party, folks. I'm glad this is happening. Know why? Because if it didn't happen, if it wasn't exposed, they'd continue to screw us over and sell us down the road. Everyone thought last year that Kaz, Fourth Dimension Kaz, who no longer exists because YouTube permanently canned him. We love you, Kaz. Kaz was right with his black pills that he was just shoving down everyone's throat. He's like, take these fucking black pills. It's the uniparty. You know, the Republicans will sell you out. True. Now, there are good Republicans, and we know it. But we know that the rhinos are in there, and they're controlling everything, and they're skipping down the primrose path, holding hands with Democrats. And they're all a bunch of social globalists. Now, folks, how do we get rid of them? Well, we protest, we fight back, and folks, we demand real control of our own political lives. Germany, folks, is preparing for emergency cash deliveries. They're preparing for bank runs, and they're preparing for aggressive discontent. Aggressive discontent. And they're going to have power cuts this winter. Is this good news or is it bad news? Well, the good news is the government's preparing. The bad news is the people aren't. The good news is that this is happening now. The bad news is people are going to die. The good news is the people of Germany and other countries are realizing that their governments are screwing them over. The bad news is people are going to die. The good news is there is time to get prepared for those who see it and know it's coming. The bad news is 99% won't do a fucking thing and people will die. The good news is in America, we're not as screwed as they are over there yet in Germany and Europe. The bad news is we will be pretty soon and people are going to die. This is not fear porn. It doesn't have to be fear porn. It is factola. Facto. Or is this just satire? Well, folks, aggressive discontent, that sounds pretty fucking serious, don't you think? Hey, by the way, have you got your question in, your comment, your statement, a piece of history, a prediction for the future? Where do you stand on what's happening now? What are you doing to get prepared? Are you helping others, or are you bunkering in and hiding from everyone? Crazy stuff, folks. Crazy stuff, right? The mainstream media. Let me finish up with these assholes. NBC News, folks, has suggested that parents keep their kids away from people who are unvaccinated to protect your kids. Remember, it's always about the kids. It's about the children. We must save the children. So fear porn from the mainstream media scaring kids. You better stay away from unvaccinated people, kids. Parents, you get your kids away from those unvaccinated people. They're dangerous. The unvaccinated people are people who are more than likely conservatives. They're more than likely patriots. And you can bet your ass they're more than likely prepared to some degree. Keep your kids away from the smart folks who have been paying attention, know what's coming, and can help you. Stay away from those people, please. Unfreaking believable what is happening, folks. The cadre of the deep state is not doing anything to help us, right? Unfreaking believable. So we got to take control of everything, folks, right? Well, we've been told, once an election has happened, that's it. You can't question it. There's no election denying going on here. No one's allowed to deny the election. But in Berlin, that's Berlin, Germany, folks, they had long lines, no ballots, complaints of voter suppression. So the high court in Berlin has thrown out the results, tossed the results of their election, and says we're going to redo it. So we can learn from Germany, just like we should learn you don't piss in your own pool. You don't piss off your own energy supply. And then when you're freezing to death, start complaining that the country that you're not getting energy from is the same one that you sent missiles and bombs after. We can learn from Germany. Germany's learned, we had a bad election. We better redo it. Bad election equals a do-over. It happens frequently, folks. It's just the United States of America. Here we are spoiled. Well, up until the last few elections, right? We thought everything handles itself. It all comes out in the wash. It'll be just fine. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. Let's move on. Hey, look, there's a chick in a bikini jumping up and down. Hey, look, there's a football game over there, right? Don't pay attention. Well, now we're paying attention, don't you think? Bad election equals a do-over. It happens around the world as well as in the United States of America. And guess what? Brazil, folks. Brazil had a little bit of Nintendo fraud that they're trying to stop. And I posted a picture as a thumbnail the other day of a massive crowd, and it was not Brazil hoping to get into the World Cup and win. No. That crowd was gathered because of the Nintendo fraud. Over 3 million Brazilians are protesting, folks. And guess what? The president, and he's still president, Mr. Bolsonaro, not the socialist who's trying to take over, but Bolsonaro is going to annul the results. What does that mean, folks? It means they had a bad game in Nintendo and they need a do-over. I wonder if Bolsonaro and his military and his Nintendo judgment system is going to investigate, find out where the problem came from, take those people, put them in front of a military tribunal, and permanently eradicate them. I don't know if they're going to do that, but they can certainly annul. And if you are familiar with that word, annulment, it's quite often referred to what happens after a Las Vegas wedding occurs. It's like, well, I got drunk in Vegas and I woke up married. Well, you can go annul that marriage, right? You have it's a grace period. You can annul things. Well, yeah, Bolsonaro is going to annul the results of their Nintendo game. It's interesting, folks. Now, here's the key. Here is the key. It is in every country around the world. It is us, the people, versus the political class. Who are the political class? They are the World Economic Forum's stooges. Every country has their Mitch McConnell. Every country has their Nancy Pelosi. Every country has their Kevin McCarthy. Every country has their Barack Obama. Every country, folks, has their Bill and Hillary Clinton. Every country has their George W. Bush sellout. Every country, folks. Down in Mexico, 500,000 Mexicans are protesting because the political class wants to eliminate voter ID and election safeguards. Are you starting to detect a pattern coming from the political class? It's not just the USA. It's not just Brazil. It's not just Europe, folks. Now Mexico. Even emerging market economy nations like Mexico, they're not third world anymore. They're trying to dig their way out of that hole. But hell, they've got third world banana republic bullshit problems just like the US of A. And they want to stop it before it gets out of hand. Good luck to Mexico. I hope the Mexican people get in there and whip some ass. Same with Brazil. I want them to whip some ass. And I want people in America to wake up and start whipping some ass, politically speaking. We've got to take control of our own political party. How do we do that? Call your local Republican office and say, what the fuck is going on? I want this shit fixed now. Republicans are law and order, truth and justice, Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence. We want it back in place in our party. No more of this sellout, let's just make some money and screw everyone's shit out of the Republicans. Yeah, I'm on a fucking tear, as usual. As usual. And I want to do this with you guys. Right? I can't go a whole damn day, it seems like, without playing. Let's take a wild freaking guess. Sponsored by the Jim Jones Juice. A 13-year-old Canadian hockey player, a boy. Well, he decided he was going to try out for basketball, and he died, collapsed during the tryouts. Suddenly, without warning, a 13-year-old boy keels over already. Folks, at age 13, you're a young super athlete. You're just young. You should be able to run outside in the sun all day long and not have a problem. I know I did as a kid. Basketball, football, soccer, baseball, it didn't matter. All fucking day long. Tennis, playing hide and seek, ditch, whatever game you played, all day long. Now, kids are dying. Athletes are dying. What the fuck is going on? It's not a head scratcher, not for us, but for those people up in Washington, it is. They don't give a fuck about you, folks. They don't. And here we go. I mean, you know what's interesting about that? Here's what it is, right? Biden is threatening to veto a now proposed Senate resolution to end the cerveza bug emergency declaration. But John, the Democrats control the Senate. How did they manage to pass a resolution to end the cerveza bug emergency declaration bullshit madness? Well, 13 Democrats voted with the Republicans, and Joe Biden is going to veto it. Folks, the Washington, D.C. swamp, World Economic Forum controlled cesspool is not going to allow normal. They want us to swallow the new normal. They want to inject us with the new normal. They want to take our food away and give us bugs as a new normal. They want you to give up your lifestyle, your freedom, your rights, your property, your jobs, your wealth, your retirement, and be poor and like it. That's right. No free speech for you, and you'll like it. That's what's going on, folks. Wacky? Yes. On a Wednesday? Why not? SHTF? Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. I hope you've got your questions in. I've got more, but I'm interested in what you guys want to discuss. And it is time for the Q&A.
Are you ready?
All right. I mean, Wacky Wednesday. Now, Harvey Weinstein, he's in trouble, right? Right. Remember Harvey Weinstein, the fat, disgusting slob of a Hollywood producer accused of sexual assault. And apparently Gavin Newsom's wife was one of them, Jennifer Sibrel. And she called Weinstein asking him for help dealing with Gavin cheating. And this was after the alleged rape. Anyways, they asked her. This is how wacky and stupid these people are. The California First Lady, Mrs. Newsom, was asked by Harvey Weinstein's attorneys how she fakes an orgasm. Because, she that's what's going on, folks. If you're not paying attention to what we talk about here, these are the topics that are coming up in the news. Harvey Weinstein, rapist, right? Gavin Newsom's wife complains that back in 2008 that she was raped, and apparently she described what his penis looks like as like a deformed snail or something. I don't fucking know. And these people are crazy. Unbelievable, folks. It's unbelievable what they want us to talk about and be concerned with. Let's see what you want to talk about and what you're concerned with. Jolene, who do we have up first? We've got Latin American preparedness. He says, Trump announced his candidacy for president last night. DeSantis is 42 years old with plenty of time to pursue the presidency. Should DeSantis wait until at least 2028 to run and not interfere with Trump? That's right, folks. Trump announced he's running for president. Now, there's a lot of ego at play here. In order to think you can run America, you've got to have one hell of a big ego. Trump has that ego. So if anyone threatens that ego, you bet he's going to go after him. So he said some less than nice things about DeSantis, him taking some cracks at him. But that doesn't surprise me. And I don't think it bothers Governor DeSantis, because Trump is 78? DeSantis is 42. And I think DeSantis would probably, under any other circumstance, be a fine president for the United States of America. In the current situation we're in, I think DeSantis would prove to be one of the most hated presidents ever by the Democrats and the most beloved by the people. But I think in Washington, D.C., he would be hamstrung, cornered, attacked. The media would be all over him. Internationally, he wouldn't be a laughing stock. He would be viewed as a threat to the World Economic Forum's great reset plans and designs. I really think Trump should run in 2024. I really think that he should get in there and duke it out. Get it out of your system there, Don. Fight like a motherfucker. You're going to get beat up, and he's going to beat people up. I don't see us getting through this real good. I think it would be a waste of DeSantis and his talents, his leadership, his decency, moral decency, to send him to Washington. There's time later if America if America can be salvaged. I think it would be best, right, to have DeSantis in there when something can actually be done in Washington. Washington must be fixed first. DeSantis isn't the guy to go in there and fix Washington. I don't know if anyone can, frankly. I mean, honestly, frankly, I don't think anyone can fix Washington. Washington has to implode. I talked about this the other day when I mentioned that all empires destroy themselves. They destroy themselves. They inflate themselves. They grow too big. They eat themselves. They eat their own. They destroy themselves with immorality. And it's been that way throughout all of history. all of history is replete with example after example after example of empires failing due to immorality. The Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire, the Egyptian dynasties, all of them is through corruption and immorality. Without going into documenting all of that, I think it's pretty well understood, right? An upstanding, moral, hardworking, decent culture and society, why would it fail? If all the people work hard, if the government follows all the rules, if there's no corruption, graft, theft, then an empire can thrive, right? Doing good things does not cause empires to fail. Doing stupid things causes empires to fail. I think it'd be hard to argue against that. Now, having said that, let us move on a little bit on this thought. If we could, let's put Latin American Preparedness's comments back up, and we'll kind of examine the topic just a little bit more. And magically, here it comes. Right, DeSantis, 2028. Thank you. He's 42 years old. Right, in 4 years or 6 years, he'll still be under 50. We need this country to experience more down. A lot of SHTF, right? People are just now starting to wake up. They're just now starting to realize how much trouble we're in. They're just now starting to realize the consequences of socialism. Do we need another 2 years with Biden, another 4 years on top of that with another Trump? It's going to take at least that. And it is only when the country says, yeah, I think we need to fix this, and the Washington power structure fails. It's going to fail, folks. It has to fail. It's just whether or not it's going to bring the entire system down with it. Right? That's the big question that I want to find out, right? This is what they're doing, folks. Okay, thank you. We'll pop off. Thank you, Latin American Preparedness. Chuck Schumer, leader of the Senate. Chucky Schumer, Chuck Schumer, decided to come out and say, quote, we have a population that is not reproducing on its own. So he wants amnesty for millions of illegal aliens that are here in the U.S. because our population is not reproducing on it. Yeah, it is. Now, we've been told we have too much population and we need to lower our population on the planet. Now Chuck Schumer is calling for amnesty to let the people stay here because we're just not making enough babies. This is another World Economic Forum Democrat socialist lie. They told this same lie to Europe. They said, Europe, you're not reproducing enough. We need to bring in these immigrants. Why? All the economies are going into robotic production, robotic distribution, robotic everything. The human population isn't needed, but they're telling us, well, we need more. But then why are you trying to kill us off? Why are you trying to say, right, we need to lower the population? Population reduction eugenists like Bill Gates. So this is a lie being told by Schumer and the Democrats and the World Economic Forum's globalist bastards. They want to bring in all of these third world people, and they want to replace us. That's right. They want to replace us, our culture, our laws, our rules, our everything, our traditions. Oh, yeah, they do, folks. All right, let's see who else wants to step on up and bring up a topic worth discussing. And that would be all of them. And it is Mike. He says, hey, Johnny boy, your show yesterday was fun, fan-fucking-tastic. I say you haven't been like this in a while. I absolutely loved your delivering, and the phone call on the show was your best yet. I found you extra motivating. I appreciate you, Semper Fi, says Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. I enjoy doing the phone parody, satire. It is fun. And I did some more today already. It's disturbing and difficult having to deal with what's happening. I am full of piss and vinegar. I'm pissed off, right? But how do I get the word out? How do I wake people up? My mission here is to get people prepared, to turn on the patriotic belief system and go, hey, you better think freedom, because if you don't, they're going to deliver slavery to us, right? You either take freedom or you get fascism. One or the other, right? We've tried living with both, and what's happening? Well, the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans are marching us down that beautiful primrose path as they skip and hold hands to globalism. It's all about tearing down our sovereign borders, our sovereign governments, our sovereign rights as the people. They want to replace it, folks. Yes, they do. And I am very motivated, and I hope everyone takes that with them. They take this energy, positive energy, and prep to action. You've got to get prepared. They're going to punish us, folks. They've been punishing us, and if you think that they're done, you're wrong. Biden says, no, we're not going to get rid of the cerveza bug emergency thing. What are you guys talking about? That shit's here to stay, right? We need to listen to Fauci. He had nothing to do with, schools, and he had nothing to do with anything. He's just a good guy, just a good little guy, right? He didn't lie to Congress 100 times in a row, did he? Well, that's up to you. Oh, let's see. I got this thing from Mr. Skylight. He said 90 Canadian doctors have died suddenly after taking the Jim Jones juice. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to worry about. And I want to thank Mr. T for doing the great work he has done, putting together all of these promos, intros, outros, disclaimers, and letting our usurpers, if you will, letting them speak for themselves, right? I don't have to say the words for them. They say it for us, right? They say it for us. For example, right? What did Joe Biden say? It's got it right here. I mean, we got Beto talking about guns, right? We got Joe Biden making all kinds of stuff, but including this.
We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Yes, he said it. His own words. They say it for us. Thank you, Mr. T. And folks, I've got to use humor and satire. It's the only thing they allow me. And I have to put in these disclaimers that, nothing's to be taken seriously, right? This isn't the news, right? And I'm not offering salvation to anybody, right? This is where you think and listen and bring up your own information and make your own decisions. Save yourselves. As my dear old mama used to say, God helps those who help themselves. So there it is. I'll go with her wisdom on that. And that's why I've always been a prepper. Okay, Jolene, what do we got rolling next? We've got Orlando. Hey, man, good to have you back in the house. He says, we all know about the FTX BS going on, FTX being the crypto organization, crypto investing organization that sent money over to Ukraine, kind of got it all laundered up and cleaned up, and then sent it back to America and donated money to politics. Yeah. Anyways, he says this, Executive Order 14067, quote, which ensures a responsible development of digital assets. It was signed this past March. Any chance the two are related? I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but for shits and giggles. Well, we're pushing folks in that direction. MasterCard, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and other banks are launching a 12-week pilot program with the New York Federal Reserve. And what is this program? It is the digital dollar program, folks. The digital dollar, more crypto/digital currency. It's all related. It's all interrelated. Now, remember this game called pea and shell? There's 3 shells on the table, and there's 1 pea, and the person in charge spins them and rattles them up just like this. And the hands move so fast you can't tell, and you're trying to keep an eye on which one has the pea, so you can go, it's over here, and you put money on the table. It's like, I got $5, says I know where the pea's at, right? And there's no fucking pea. Well, the pea goes off the table, folks, and the guy's got one in his palm, and when you pick one, he just fucking palms it and sticks it under the other one, right? He lifts the one and palms the other one, and shoves the pea under it and says, no, it's over here, you dummy, and takes your $5. They're playing the fucking pea and shell game. It's also the distraction game. Hey, look over there, and then you get bitch slapped by them. That's what's going on. They're laundering money through Ukraine. And then when they get caught and the news has no choice but to talk about it, and we're all concerned about it, and they go, hey, look, a bomb over there. And oh, by the way, the Federal Reserve is the New York Federal Reserve Bank branch. We're going to start a digital dollar program. Folks, banking meets social credit control system. Yeah, they're going to ensure that everything is safe and good. And yeah, my ass. Now, we're just regular people. We don't get to pull the levers and push the buttons and control everything. But you can bet your ass that they're going to claim that it's safe and effective. Kind of like the Jim Jones juice. Oh, your money's safe. And this system's very effective. Why do we need this system again? Why the fuck do we need this system? What is this? Why don't regular dollars work? They've been working for the last 200 fucking years. Now we have to go to digital dollars. Oh, it's to stop human trafficking and drug trafficking. And yeah, those are some of the big reasons, folks. Human trafficking and drug trafficking. Governments around the world, including the United States government, or you could say it's its procurement division, they are the biggest human traffickers. And I'm going to contend, and I will continue to say this, that the war on drugs that was started in the 1980s, George H.W. Bush, Mr. 1,000 Points of Light, wouldn't be prudent, right? The New World Order, and it will get here. And folks, the New World Order, they're all over us. That war on drugs was to stop the cartels from sending drugs up here without a U.S. government, U.S. corrupt government permission. In other words, they weren't getting their cut. Who do you think really brings in the most drugs? Was the U.S. military, or was the U.S. military not guarding poppy fields in Afghanistan? That's right. Geraldo Rivera, Geraldo, on the scene, interviewed a military officer and his unit standing guard over poppy fields, opium poppy fields, which are used to grow opium, which goes into making drugs. Why is the U.S. military guarding drugs? Cocaine. What does the U.S. government do with all the fucking cocaine they capture? If you think they flush it down the toilet in D.C., you're probably mistaken. If you think they take it out into the middle of the ocean and dump it, you're probably naive. If you think the U.S. government, through its agencies, however corrupt they may be, take that cocaine and distribute it themselves and make money on it to fund their black projects, you might be getting a little closer to what factually actually happens. But I have no evidence. No, it's just a little satirical pokey, right? But what's the more likely story? You think the government's going to throw away $1 billion in cocaine every year? Or do you think they're going to sell that cocaine? Do you think they were guarding those poppy fields because, they're really concerned about Afghan farmers? Oh, by the way, after the United States government used the military to take control of Afghanistan away from the Taliban, opium poppy crops increased manifold times, hundreds of % higher. They started growing more and more and more. Why is that? enough of that shit. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about, Jolene? We've got Mikey G says, wish the money dark could be traced. Chinese influence payoffs, then blackmail. Yeah, it would be nice to see how this all works. We get little tastes of it, which once again cause us, right? It begs the question, who is pulling whose fucking strings? Who is working for who? Who made who? You ask, can we trace this shit? Chinese influence, payoffs, bribes, blackmail, extortion, control, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden. How about this? How about Justin Turdho? That's right, the little bitch boy himself. Guess what? Xi Jinping, leader of China, communist leader of China, talks to the communist son, Castro, Justin Turdho. Anyways, he scolded him. Xi scolded Justin like a little school bitch. He called him out in front of the cameras, right? For leaking the conversation that he had with him to reporters. Who is in charge of who? Who's afraid of who? Who is blackmailing who? Who has control over who? Right? Well, let's see. The CIA was accused by the now dead crypto guy of having created a control system. Right? They were going to use a computer that was supposedly his that was full of child porn or something, kiddie porn, in order to blackmail and control him. Well, he just ended up dead. That's at that level, way down at the bottom. But as you go up in local politics, state politics, bureaucracy, federal politics, up to the top floor, right? All of these people have control files. Whatever they've done wrong, they're controlled. The FBI, the CIA, how about the NSA? How about any other number of groups? Oh, let's see. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. How about the Internal Revenue Service? The entire Justice Department? The Attorney General's office itself? Do they have control files on people? Well, folks, this is why DeSantis is such a threat to them. This is why Trump is literally a threat to the Washington elite. And Uman, I think, would have a hard time arguing about what I'm about to say. If they could control Trump. We know they hate Trump. They love to hate Trump. And they will say and do anything they can to destroy Trump. In fact, they're trying to pass some legislation, some bullshit, and say Trump is forbidden from ever being in politics again because of that January 6th insurrection. If they had anything real to destroy or control Trump with, they would have used it already. They can't because there isn't, and therefore they are afraid of him. Hence the attack. Hence the manufactured bullshit from January 6th. The insurrection. Trump was trying to take control of the government away from the people by denying the vote. Right? That's the deal. That's why Trump is so dangerous. They don't have control of him. Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, if they had dirt, if they had any dirt on him, they would use it to destroy him before he gets to be powerful. Or they could wait until he puts his hand on the Bible and says, I swear to do this and that. And then they take him back behind the White House into the woodshed and they say, hey, look, we got this file here. Look at that. Yeah, there's you. And this is what you were doing. And these were the drugs. And these were the girls. And yeah, here's the laws you broke. And we got you. We now own your ass, Mr. DeSantis. But they would rather destroy him. Why even do that when you can just get someone like, well, Biden or Fetterman? Absolutely, totally brain dead. And just take him out in the woodshed and go, you want an ice cream cone? And go, yeah, I want an ice cream cone. I want an ice cream cone. Then say these words, right? Okay, I'll say whatever you want. Give me an ice cream cone. Okay, Biden, toddle off. We'll call you when we need you to sit in front of a camera and pose. Anyways, yeah. China owns and controls American politics. The World Economic Forum owns and controls politics. And I believe that there is a struggle amongst those at the top to control this system. And I believe there's actually good guys up there too trying to do things as well. But for the most part, it's all about control. It's all about fucking us over. It truly is, folks. I mean, this is what they would like, in my opinion, to have. In Afghanistan, you know, the place where Joe Biden gave $85 billion worth of military equipment, hardware, and a couple of bases, bombs, rockets, missiles, drones. Not to mention all the training we gave the military there so that it is now under control of the Taliban. Yeah. Anyways, the Afghan Supreme Leader. The Supreme Leader. Doesn't that sound like the movie The Dictator? Supreme Leader. The Supreme Leader is going to fully enforce Sharia law. That's right. Including public executions, floggings, amputations, and stonings. I want to know if the Supreme Leader and his form of justice, are they going to use the United States government, Biden-supplied equipment to enforce Sharia law? Are they going to execute women for daring to show their faces? Where's the feminists on this, by the way? All the women who are now being beaten, flogged, stuffed under burqas, you know, forced to be sex slaves for these Afghan warlords. Where's the feminists on this? Where's the United Nations and the human rights guys? They just gave Afghanistan back to these fucking screwballs. Well, it's because the people in charge, folks, of the crooked globalist system, they don't mind this. This is fine. Hey, Afghan people, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And they're like, yeah, I guess we are happy. Yeah, we're happy. We'll take a couple of stonings, floggings, executions, cut my hand off. Yeah. Yeah, they're just fine with that for the little people. You see, they want the world to accept this two-tiered system, kind of like the rest of the Middle East. And I'm not cutting them any fucking slack. If you're one of the princes, there's about 600 million princes over there, it seems like. If you're a prince, you're above the Sharia law. If you're not a royal prince, then you're subject to Sharia law. Executions, stonings, floggings, amputations. I'm sure that maybe being dragged behind a bus is a new one. How about, death by hanging? I wonder if they've got that one. Or are nooses scary over there in, in that area of the world? Maybe nooses are so scary that they don't allow them. Even the Supreme Leader's like, hey, we'll do some executions and some floggings and shit, but keep those nooses away. That's just too much. That's over the line. All right, Jolene, what do we got next? Bonnie Blue 2A says, we are living in the collapse of an empire and the collapse of Western civilization. It's hard to argue against that. We are seeing the collapse, but is it the collapse of Western civilization? Or is it the collapse of the corrupt government? Now, case in point, Roman Empire. Roman Empire had within it several different religious sects, S-E-C-T-S, not S-E-X, but the religious sects. We had early Catholicism. We had the Sol Invictus cult. We had many other belief systems that were competing, right? One day they had, Christians being thrown to the lions. And the next day you had Roman Christians burning the Library of Alexandria and killing all the heretics. And it wasn't one day to the next. It was decades after each other, right? It swung back and forth. It took Rome, folks, a long time to destroy itself. But ultimately it did destroy itself. Where are we at today? Well, like Rome, we have a very corrupt ruling elite. We have a very corrupt, extremely wealthy elite. We have a very corrupt military. Now, in the Roman Empire, folks, the military was used to capture the wealth of the rich who weren't quite up there with the rest of the elites. Anyone who strayed from the story got their wealth confiscated. They were accused of crimes, and they were destroyed politically and socially, and they had their wealth taken while they were sent to the gallows, rowing a boat, or just executed. What do we have today? We have people choosing sides, people like Donald Trump, who they're trying to destroy. We have people like Alex Jones, who's being fined more money than most governments have, right? You have someone like Elon Musk, who stands to lose his billions of dollars. And you have someone like Jeff Bezos, who is more than willing to play the game and kiss everyone's ass in government as long as he gets to keep some of it, while he says, I'm going to give the rest to charity. Right? He's playing the game and giving his money away. Folks, the collapse of the Roman Empire. I want to finish this up real quick and then turn you loose to go about your prepping and waking people up. But the Roman Empire, that is the Roman elitist leadership, they failed. They became broke. They were destroyed, and the empire collapsed. But the part of the civilization that lived, existed, and continued was the good part. The good people took their morality, their decency, their hard work, and they said, hasta la vista, Roman Empire, we'll live on our own. They had to survive the collapse of the government, but the people and their civilization continued. They continued, folks. Europe didn't everyone didn't die in Europe because Rome collapsed. There were the barbarians or the Celts of Germany, the Germanic tribes. You had, let's see, who was around before Charlemagne came back? Yeah, you had different dynasties. You had the Merovingians, then you had the Carolingians. You had a bunch, and that's just the French kings. You had Spanish kings. You had English kings. You had civilization all over Europe that managed to survive and continue and develop. And eventually the Renaissance brought about the rebirth of the greatness of Western civilization. So we could see our civilization crash, but it is the evil elements that will die and go away, and the people will have a chance to live free again. Now, do we have to go all the way down to the bottom before we can turn and go back up? Hopefully we can stop these evil bastards, expose them, arrest them, execute them, whatever it takes. Declare our independence and our freedom once again and live as free people. But we have to understand, and this is the end of it, the tree of liberty from time to time must be watered with the blood of saints and tyrants. Right? The blood of patriots and tyrants. Everyone suffers. But tyrants, folks, they need to be eradicated. Who are the tyrants? Those who would take your rights, take your property, take your lives while they live like kings. That's who the tyrants are. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Semper Fi, Godspeed, and we'll be back. 0 Dark 30. I'll see you then.